Hello and welcome to This Week in James City County. I'm your host, Renee Dahlman. Today, I am once again joined by Karen Firehock. Karen is the Executive Director of the nonprofit GIC Incorporated. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you. We're also joined by Tammy Rosario. Tammy is the Assistant Director of Community Development for James City County. Welcome, Tammy.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So glad you all were able to come back with us to give us a great update on the natural and asset planning effort here in James City County. So let's do a brief refresher of what this project is. Karen, can you give us a summary of what the project is?
Yes, I can. So this project originated from the recent update of the comprehensive plan that was completed last year. And one of the things the comprehensive plan called for was an assessment of the county's natural and cultural assets. And so that takes a lot of extra work. So it's a separate process and our center is assisting the county with that. And so the first thing to answer really is, what are natural and cultural assets?
Yes.
That's not something that we talk about every day. So natural assets are all of basically the natural resources that are important to our survival. So clean water, healthy forests, healthy agricultural soils that support our food system. And we have been mapping those for the county to understand where they are, what is their extent, and what is their condition. So we model that using a lot of different data inputs, and we can figure out the highest quality natural assets in the county. And that's really important if we want to continue to have, like we said, a strong agricultural economy, as well as places to recreate and go birding, and also to support our groundwater recharge. And then the cultural assets part, that's a broader definition because it includes things you might think of that are obvious, such as places that are on the national or state historic register, but it also includes places that are just important to our heartstrings. So it could be Busch Gardens could be an important place for people that they have lots of family memories about. And so that's on the cultural map. It could also be a place where people like to get together for family reunions, so at a park. So it really is anything that is important to the culture and history of the county. And then there, of course, are a lot of archaeological sites and even places that we haven't discovered yet. So we have crowdsourced this information. We've taken it both from data that the county already has, as well as state databases. And then we asked the community this past Valentine's week what was important to them. So we got a lot of additional data points to put on. And then I would be remiss if I did mention that it also includes the sort of the culture, the character areas that were identified during the comprehensive planning process. So it includes all of that with a lot of new things. But when you put it all together on a map, you can see how some of those natural landscapes or beautiful settings also support the history and culture of our county. So we're mapping them all, and then we're seeing how they support one another.
Well, and Karen, mentioning Busch Gardens makes me think, because normally, like you've said, we think about Jamestown settlement or the Jamestown Island, but Busch Gardens, like you've said, is a place where people have a long time connection to going for events. And just recently, I think this past week, it's down in Norfolk, but Spirit of Norfolk caught on fire and is probably destroyed from what I'm understanding. And the number of people coming out and saying, I had my prom there, I had my wedding there, I had family reunions for years and years there. And it really showed that it's not just historical things that are cultural assets, but it's other things as well, like the boat or like Busch Gardens. So I really appreciate that. So Karen, tell us, why does this matter? Why is it important?
Sure. So it's like anything. If you don't know what you have and you don't know its value, it might disappear without you realizing it. So I often use a financial analogy, which in this time of inflation, sometimes we don't want to think about finances. But if you think about your stock portfolio, or if you're planning to retire, you want to know how much money do you have saved up? What's it worth? Will it provide that value you need in your later years? And it's just like that with our landscape. We want to know where's our best agricultural soils so that we can try to protect them to the maximum extent possible. And that might be that those areas the landowner wants to put them in a conservation easement, or they want to include them in an agricultural forestal district. Similarly, if we have an important corridor that wildlife are using to get from place to place, and we haven't recognized it, we might inadvertently put a road right through the middle of it, when it could be that just shifting that road over a little would have made all the difference to allowing that wildlife to move across the landscape. And then as we update the greenways plan for the county in the future, we might want to make use of some of those corridors might turn into greenways or parks if the county decides to go forward with that. So to be clear, we're not identifying lands that the county is now going to put into parks. But what we are doing is saying these lands have important value. So if you're a landowner and you find out, wow, I have a really high value resource on my land, that may inform decisions that you make on how to manage your property or where to build your barn or your house. Again, voluntary decisions. But it also could be a developer who's planning to develop a piece of land, and the county may make them realize that, hey, there's an important corridor and you've got to have open space on your site. Why not have that open space be some of this high value habitat? So it's really providing a service for the county to understand the value of its resources, and then to also broadly share that with private landowners, the public, the development community, and everybody who's making decisions every day, every week, every month on how to grow and where to build.
I know that you all have been very busy on this. Yes. And so what is the latest news?
I can jump in and then let Ms. Rosario follow me. So we have just finished looking at a draft set of strategies, because it's great to make maps, but if we don't really have an idea on how we might go about either expanding them or protecting them or promoting them, then we may not get anywhere. So we have a set of strategies that we've developed with our Natural and Cultural Assets Mapping Advisory Committee that was appointed by the Board of Supervisors. And so we've just met to go over the strategies. We've made some tweaks to them, and we're getting ready to present those at a community open house that will be held on Wednesday, June 27th at the Rec Center from 4 to 7. So we're excited to not only share the most up-to-date maps with the community, but more importantly, the strategies that the county may undertake. So we're looking forward to getting feedback on those strategies. And also we welcome the community to come and suggest their own strategies. So we'll take all that under advisement back to our advisory committee and see what they think. But we're really excited to be able to bring it out into the public. We did have some input in February, like I said earlier, but this will be our first chance to actually do an in-person meeting.
Well, Tammy, then can we talk a little bit more? Can we hit a couple of those dates a little bit, and to remind everyone how they can get involved?
Yes. Just a little bit of a slight correction here. It'll be Wednesday, June 29th, and we're going to have it at the James City County Recreation Center, Community Room A, and it'll be from 4 to 7 p.m. And what Karen's organized is a really great opportunity for people to either come and drop in, hence the name open house, and peruse the maps at their leisure and provide some input on the strategies, or they can come for the presentation portion of it, which Karen, I believe, starts at 5. Or is that 5? Yeah. And it'll be roughly a half hour of information and sharing. And then, of course, they can just peruse as they wish. So either way is comfortable with us. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to participate. And to that point, if people can't make the open house, we've been working on a parallel hub on our website for people to be able to view the maps and then take a survey. And that will be available starting June 22nd, and it'll be open through July 10th.
Lots of opportunities, both in person and through the website. That's great. So how will all of this input be used? Karen, I'm sorry, who wants to take that one?
Sure. Well, I can start. I know that, in the past, for all of our planning processes, we collect every single point of data and turn it into, our instructions moving forward on any sort of map revisions or ways of thinking about revisions that might be needed. I know we'll collect it and bring it back to a committee to help us work through it. But I'll pass it along to Karen, who's really going to be the one facilitating that whole exercise.
Sure, happy to share. So essentially, we'll be taking in the information from the community, and they may tell us about some additional important places that we didn't know about. And then we'll be bringing that information into the county, and all of the maps that we've created and all the new data that we've actually created about important places will go into the county's GIS system, or Geographic Information System. So they'll have all that data available, and they'll use it in various ways. So I mentioned already an update to the Greenway Plan. The county worked on one several years ago, but it's probably time to put some more up-to-date information in there. And then as developers say, have a site that they're working on a site plan for, the county would probably share some information to tell them this is some important resources to consider, and maybe make that your open space, like I said. And then there's a lot of opportunities for education of the public to understand, I have this important resource on my land. What does that mean? What should I be doing to help facilitate the health of that habitat? And we didn't really get into yet, why is this so important? And I think we should maybe pause because we got so excited talking about our maps. But, why are we doing this all? It's because there are definitely places on the landscape where they actually support rare, threatened, or endangered species. So there could be habitat that's really important to the continued success of those creatures. It also is important for recharging our groundwater supply. So healthy forests actually act like a sponge and help soak and hold water and allow it to percolate into our aquifer. And then also just thinking about as we need shade, and it's, especially yesterday, it was really hot. I think it's gonna be another hot one today. So thinking about how we have as shaded a landscape as we possibly can. So, and health, just supporting possibilities of getting outside and recreating in nature. And there's a lot of studies that show that access to nature, even just 20 minutes a day, can really improve your health and even raise your IQ. So I always kid around that we should have lots of trees at schools because it actually helps our kids be smarter. So there's a lot of public health reasons. There are planning and zoning reasons. There's transportation planning reasons. And there's just recharging of water and protecting our food supply as we think about protecting those important ag soils. So all of that information has not been all collected in one place before. So now the county will, at the push of a button, be able to access that. And we'll also make sure that these maps are available on the county's website. So a citizen could look up all of the high value habitats around them, but they also could look up fun things to do or places to take a hike. So it'll be an interactive map that you can use just for planning a fun weekend, as well as nurturing the health of our landscape.
Karen, thank you so much for wrapping back around to the why, because you are right. That is so important. And I love to hear that. So is there any other point that we missed because we were so excited about the maps?
Well, if I could weigh in, I just want to tie it back to some of the themes that we heard during the comprehensive plan update, because we really take to heart what citizens tell us. And in the past several comprehensive plans, and we know just in public discourse that community character is really important to James City County residents. We know that it's one of our greatest calling cards for business location. We know that tourism is important to our economy and just our quality of life here at James City County. We have worked and lived here because it's a special place. And so these natural and cultural assets are integral to maintaining that community character, maintaining our quality of life and our physical health. So we're really excited to be able to propel this forward and make the path clearer as to what we can do to keep that community character and our overall quality of life.
Absolutely. It's a great place to live. That is for sure. So let's go back before we wrap this up and remind us of the date and time and location of the next event?
Certainly, I'll try to say it all in one fell swoop that gets it right. We have our open house on Wednesday, June 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the James City County Recreation Center, Community Room A. And then we also have information available on the website starting June 22nd, and that is www.jamescitycountyva.gov/3856.
Okay, very good. Well, any other closing comments before we wrap up?
Just that we're really looking forward to having more community eyes on the maps, whether you visit them online or you come see us in person. We also are hoping to get a lot of feedback on the strategies that we're proposing. I mentioned updating the Greenway plan. We may provide some incentives for developers to save more green space on their sites. So really looking forward to having that community review, and all viewpoints are welcome. And frankly, I'm sure there's some great idea out there in the community that us and the committee have not thought of yet. So we really want people to bring that wisdom to us.
All right. Tammy.
We will be using all this information through the summer, and we hope to be reporting back to the Board of Supervisors this fall. So if people miss this opportunity, we just want them to be able to go to our website and stay informed and look for us in the fall.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you both, Kieran and Tammy, for coming on the podcast and keeping us up to date on this great project.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Well, that wraps up this episode of This Week in James City County. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please take a moment to go online and subscribe. That way you will be sure to never miss an episode. You can also go to our website. We're at jamescitycountyva.gov/podcast. And while there, you're going to find all of our episodes as well as a form that you can complete. Give us ideas for future shows, comments, criticisms. We would love to hear from you. So once again, thank you so much, and we will talk with you next time.
Thank you.